We respect him. He respect us.
Hey everyone, in this video I'm outside in nature because it's such a beautiful day and it's Friday and I am feeling amazing, and I just wanted to film this video outside since I had the extra time to do so. So this particular video I had actually made when I first come to YouTube about 2.5 years ago. I actually had called it like the old haunted house or something like that, and it was in like 3 or 4 parts because, you know, when you first started YouTube back in the day, you could only upload less than 10 minutes. So since I found that journal in my parents' attic a few weeks back, since I have found that, I found more information about this particular haunted house that's on the hill. So since I found that, I wanted to share it with you guys and share with you this experience, because this experience is quite, to me, you know, quite fascinating and pretty mysterious, to say the least, I guess. But yeah, I'm out here and it's beautiful, and actually I don't even see any clouds today. It's a clear blue beautiful sky. So you may actually hear some dogs running around back and forth. So anyway, you may hear like some noises, cars driving by, possibly an airplane, you know, just normal outdoor stuff. Even though I live in the country, there's still a highway about a mile down, so you can still actually hear the traffic. Let me just go ahead and get on to the story. So this story is about me and a few friends that have heard of this old haunted house. You know, haunted is what it was known around the area. That it was haunted, white, picket fence type of old house that was sitting up on a hill. And really, this isn't even in the country. This house was actually in the city, but it was like kind of set off from everything else because you had to go up this huge hill, and there was maybe a few neighbors around, but not very many. So you would go up this hill, and at the top of the hill was this house. And I remember there was also this passageway in the back of the house where you could kind of like walk through this really wooded path, and that's how I would usually go into this house. Was we would go through the back way, park just in the back, and then come up this wooden path. And when you start walking down this wooden path, you start kind of getting this feeling like, okay, you know, this is going to be exciting. I feel like something may happen here. You know, you just kind of have this adrenaline pumping feeling that, like, you can just feel there's some sort of spiritual vibration going on in this house. And if you're someone that connects with spirits, or you feel drawn to spirits, or spirits try to communicate to you, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. So anyway, there's this one night where we all decide to go check it out. There's about 3 to 4 of us. So we, you know, park in the back, walk through this wooded pathway, and once you get to the edge of the wooded pathway, when it starts clearing and you see the house, it was just this beautiful 2-story, basically decaying and rotting house. I was always completely fascinated by this house because this house, just like I said, had this feeling about it, kind of a creepy, spiritual, ghosty kind of feeling. And I am absolutely drawn to that type of energy. So I'm just going to kind of set this framework up so you know what I'm seeing when I'm there. So it's this old haunted house, or so it's this old white house with a picket fence around it. But the picket fence is falling apart, so some parts are missing. It definitely needed to either be repainted or replaced, but that doesn't matter. Anyway, so it was 2 stories, and when you would walk in, it just had like 4, 5, 6 rooms, and the upstairs actually only had 3 rooms. There was like a room to the right, this little center balcony type of thing, and then over to the left was another bedroom type of, it looked like a bedroom, and there was no rail separating like the top step, the balcony, to the downstairs. So yeah, we had to be really careful because, as I said, it was kind of decaying, falling apart. So if we actually, you know, wasn't paying attention or knew what we were doing, we could have easily have fallen off. But anyway, back to the story. So one night we decided to go out there and set up some candles and bring our like a tape recorder at the time. I think it was like one of those little digital recorders. So we brought our digital recorder, some candles, the Ouija board. I'll have to add those pictures in because I don't have them with me right now. So hopefully I can find them and add them in here because I want to show you this board because there's a story behind this board here and it's relevant to the story. So I would like for you to have an idea of what it looked like. And it was just a board that I had made, nothing really special. I had it say Witchboard at the top. I actually made it to look like the board from the movie Witchboard. If you've ever seen those, they're really classic, cheesy 80s horror movies. If you've watched me, you know I like horror movies. So, yeah. So we go upstairs one night and we decided to, set everything up to have a seance. We set the candles up. We put the Witchboard in the center. And we all sat down and began to hold hands, the normal type of thing that you would do in a seance. And, at that time, I wasn't really, aware like I am now that you shouldn't just ask to speak to any spirit. That's really not the proper way to go about contacting a spirit. But I'm just going to share this story with you because this is just an experience. So we were holding hands. We had the recorder going. And we're just sitting there and we asked, is there anybody in this house that would like to speak to us? And the board, we had our fingers on it and it was just kind of spinning around like normal. Nothing, we didn't hear anything, we didn't really feel anything. So we just, continued to play, ask it if anyone was there. And then after about 5 minutes of us sitting there and really focusing and getting our attention directly onto what we were doing, we began to feel or sense this presence near us. And once this is what I felt, and afterwards we had discussed it, so that's why I'm saying this is what we felt. So we felt this, and then all of a sudden, the blanket goes to yes, that someone was there. And it starts spinning around some more. And then all of a sudden, one of the candle lights, the candle flames, goes out. And a friend of mine screamed out, and it basically broke the concentration of everything. So we basically just packed everything up to get ready to leave. Now, after we packed everything up and we were sitting there, we wanted to play back the recorder and just see if anything actually came through on there. So we were listening to it. And after about 5 to 10 minutes into the story, after about 5 or 10 minutes of listening to the playback, we heard this little boy's voice say, hello, like in this really little child's voice, like maybe about a 5-year-old. And it just said, hello. And it sounded like a boy. And we were like, oh my God, we actually picked something up. So after we heard this little boy's voice, it freaked out a couple of my friends, and one of them was already ready to go, already out, sitting in the car, the one that was screamed after the candle flame went out. So she was out there just waiting. So we packed everything up and we left. Now, since I knew that we had some sort of communication with a spirit that night, I wanted to go back the next night. So I gathered a few more friends that wanted to go and was interested, and we went back out there. Now this is quite an interesting experience that I'm about to share right here. When we went back out there that night, we went back upstairs, set everything up like we normally would. We didn't have a digital camera at that time, but we did have the board, the one I mentioned earlier, that hopefully I'll be able to have a picture and show you guys. We had the board, we had the candles, and it was like 4 of us, and we were all sitting around it and just playing. So after playing just a few minutes, the blanket started to move, the normal circular motion. We asked it if you were here with us. It said yes. We asked it, is there anything you would like to tell us? And it said yes. And so we asked, okay, what is your name? And it spelled out like PHLP, something like that. So we were like, maybe this is Philip. So we said, is your name Philip? And it's like, yes. It goes to yes. So We were like, oh my gosh, you know, so are you, then we like knew then, like this may be the little boy, let's find out. So I asked, are you the little boy that spoke on the video camera the other night that said hello? And it went straight up to yes, like so fast, there's no way anyone could have moved it. I mean, it was just like shoo, you know, like just flew right up there. So we were like, oh my God, we've contacted this little boy. So we asked, is there anything that we can do to help this little boy? And it started kind of just spinning in, you know, in a weird, like frantic motion, and then just kind of went straight off the board. And that kind of freaked us out. So we were like, oh my God, you know, what just happened here? So I wanted to ask it one more question. I was very persistent. I still am today. I guess it's just part of my personality. But I wanted to know, did this little boy die in this house? So we put our hands back on it and we asked it, did you die in this house? And it went straight to yes. Now, I didn't mention this earlier, but in the left room, when you walked up the stairs, you know, there was a room to the right and a room to the left. When you'd go into the room on the left, there was nothing but hangers in there. Just hundreds of hangers, like just all over the floor. And, you know, we never figured out what that was. So, you know, all these hangers are on the ground, and I remember asking the boy, you know, on the board, are those hangers, does the hangers have anything to do with your death? And it didn't say anything. And we never could find out if those hangers had anything to do with it or not. But anyway, let me get on to where it gets really freaky, okay? So after the little boy told us on the board that it had died in that house, a couple of friends were really ready to go. I mean, they were kind of really spooked out. I wanted to actually stay there and try to get some more information if we could, but they were ready to go. So I figured, okay, we'll go, and I'll just come back another night with a couple of my other friends that were really like me, like really wanting to find out more and, you know, try to see what we can do here. So we decided to start packing everything up. Oh gosh, it's so freaky saying all this because this is so wild right here that I'm about to tell you. Okay, so as we were picking everything up, we started going down the stairs. Now, we couldn't carry everything at once because we had a lot of things. So we grabbed up some candles and then like some other little things that we had, like drinks and, you know, just regular drinks. We wasn't out drinking, promise. You know, liquor. Anyway. So we were gathering up some of the stuff that we had and started walking down the stairs. And as we got towards the bottom of the steps, we started hearing this basically footstep sounds, like breaking glass footsteps, like stomping, like loud footsteps stonking in the other room. And we were like, oh my God, because we're all four together. No one else had come with us. And, you know, we didn't think anybody else was there. That was interesting. Anyway, so as we go down these stairs and we start hearing this, we just basically get completely freaked out, run right, and go into this closet that's underneath the staircase. You know how some stairs have a closet under there, under the staircase? So we just kind of went under there. And we went in there and shut the door and was just listening, standing there listening. And it was the most loudest sound ever of footsteps, breaking glass. And that lasted, it seemed like it lasted forever. But it really actually only lasted maybe about probably 10 to 15 seconds. So while we're in there, waiting in this closet, we're still hearing the footsteps. It's as if all of a sudden that crinkling or crushing of bottled glass and everything else had just stopped. It just stopped in the middle of nowhere. It's not like you heard the footsteps descend away. It's just like as if it was just ended. You know, like how you would imagine some sort of ghost would be trying to say something to you, you know, making a sound and then it just stopped, or I don't know, but you know what I mean. So you could hear his footsteps and then all of a sudden it just stopped. So we just stayed in there a few more minutes and we were like, oh my God, you know, what was that? Was someone else here with us? Was that a ghost? Was that possibly, you know, all these thoughts are running through my head. I was thinking, like, what if that was the dad ghost that had killed his son and was roaming the house mad that we were trying to get information about it? I mean, you know, it's just a theory, but you just never know. So anyway, we decide, let's get ready to go out of there. And as we were getting ready to walk out, I like looked over this way to walk out, you know, just like the side of the wall. And when I looked over there to the side of the wall, oh my God, I saw this like 1800s style woman, you know, with like the white thing that goes on her neck and it goes up, you know, and hair's in a bun and just straight faced, and they almost look angry, you know, all those old pictures from the 1800s. It looked like that. But here's the thing, it wasn't an actual picture on this wall. It was like looking at a picture that was in the wood. Okay, this face of this woman was in the wood, like as if it looked like it had been burned into the wood. And I know that sounds crazy. I wish I would have had pictures. I didn't even have a camera back then, and I don't know, back then you had to go and get pictures developed. You couldn't just take them with your phone and stuff, so a little bit of a different time. So I'm looking at this face, and I'm just sitting here trying to decipher it, make sure, is this what I'm seeing? You know, am I really seeing this old 1800s looking lady face burned into this wood? And you know, because this is all going on in a matter of just seconds. Some of the friends had already walked out of the closet. I'm still standing here looking at it. So as I'm looking at it, a friend turned in and is like, aren't you coming? Let's get out of here. And I'm like, you've got to check this out. Look at this. And they walk over and they look and they're like, what is that? And I'm like, what does it look like to you? You know, I'm like, I didn't want to say like what I thought. I wanted to see what they thought it looked like. And they're looking and they get closer, you know, and kind of looking. And they're like, oh man, that looks like some sort of woman. Some kind of old school, old style woman face burned into that wood. And so when they said that, it just verified to me, this is exactly what I'm seeing. So I told them, you know, this is what I'm seeing. So we're sitting here kind of just staring at this, trying to figure this out, like, oh my God, you know, what is this? What's going on here? So, that was just freaky, you know. So basically we just left, you know. I mean, there wasn't really anything to do about that. I mean, I wish I had a camera, I could have took a picture of it, but it was really kind of scary and also sort of freaky at the same time, you know. Like, you want to know what it is, but then your adrenaline's pumping so much that you're like, oh gosh. So after we had been looking at this obviously burned face woman in the wood, a couple other friends, you know, came around the corner and was like, what are you doing? You know, because they were standing like right outside the door, like, you know, you could hear them talking like, oh, I'm ready to get out of here. And they were just like, what are y'all doing and still doing in here? And I'm like, we're looking at this. And described to them what we were seeing. And after they saw that, they were like, hey, this is it. I am getting out of here and don't ever ask me to come back. So, you know, whatever. But we go upstairs to get the board and a couple of other things that we still needed to get before we could leave, because the other two just ran to the car. They were like, I'm getting out of here. So, and this is where really this story, I would say, begins. And there's going to probably be like, I mean, I may make this into like a series of this haunted house, because we had so many experiences at this house and so many just random weird occurrences. So I really would like to share a lot of this with you. So I may end up making this not really like its own series, but it'll fall in that playlist that I have of unexplained, paranormal, supernatural, UFO experiences. I don't know if that's exactly what it's called, but it's something like that. But it will go in there. We go up those steps, and we turn that corner, and we get ready to grab that board so we could leave, and that board is gone. It's not there anymore. It's like as if it has completely vanished. Even the plankton's gone. No, I'm sorry. The plankton was not gone. It was on the floor. It was the board that was missing. So when we notice that this board is missing, we're like, okay, what is going on? Something is either here messing with us, or this spirit does not want us communicating with it anymore. So, sorry, mosquito. Anyway, so we decide, let's just go look around, because maybe we brought it down here and not even realizing that we did, because so much was going on as we decided to leave. So we go down the stairs and we just start looking everywhere in that house. Go out to the car to look. We look everywhere, and we do not find it anywhere. I mean, it's nowhere in sight. It's not in the car. The other two friends that are in the car already are like, no, we don't have it. Let's just get out of here. Because they're like just freaking out. They don't like this idea at all. They're ready to go home and be safe because they're scared. They don't know what's going to happen. And, you know, my idea is, as long as you've got a clear head and you're focused and you're in control, then nothing's going to happen. You know, you can't be, if you're afraid and scared, things are going to happen to you. So you've got to have a level head and be strong and, you know, just have that focus. But anyway, we never found it. So we decided, well, let's just leave. And I was like, yeah, let's just go ahead and go, and I'll come back out here in a few more days and see if I can find it. So a few weeks go by, and I decide, let's go on back out there and see if we can find this board, or just see if we can get any kind of communication going. And I wanted to go during the day and bring some friends that wanted to help look, you know. So we go back out there, and when we go back out there, we walk back through the wooded trail through the back and come out, and we notice there's this man and this woman doing something with a whole bunch of bottles. I mean, they had all these bottles like just laid out. And you know, I was thinking, oh my God, you know, are they not gonna like us being here or what? But I didn't care, because I'm looking for my board, and I was just gonna see if maybe they had seen it. So I was like, hey, you know, how you doing? And told them who we were and said, you know, is this your home? And they're like, no, we're just here collecting all these old bottles because we've got some like old crafts or something they were going to do. I can't remember what they said, but that's irrelevant, right? Anyway, so I just said, hey, has y'all by any chance seen this Witchboard, Ouija board type of board, you know? And I described it to them and asked them, you know, have you seen it anywhere? And they're like, no, we haven't seen anything like that. And I was like, okay, are you sure? And they're like, yeah, we've been all through this house, we've been downstairs, we've been upstairs, we've been collecting these bottles down here in the basement and up in the attic. We ain't seen anything. So I'm like, all right, okay, well, thank you. And I get ready to turn, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna go ahead and go look anyway. And as I started to turn to go in there, he's like, hey, wait. And I'm like, yes. And he's like, there is a board propped up in the house. And I was thinking, propped up in the house. So I was sitting there thinking, he must be messing with us. He must be talking about our board. He's just joking around. He actually put it there, and he's just messing around with us. So I was like, okay, it's propped up in here? And he's like, yeah, in the kitchen, go through there, da, 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 and you should see it propped up on the wall. Now, of course, there was no furniture in this house, and as I've said before, it's decaying, it's falling apart. There are pieces of wood on the floor. I mean, obviously, this place needs to be torn down. And in fact, it actually does, but I'll get to that later in another video that has other experiences in this place. So anyway, as we are, what's my train of thought? Okay, so he says, all right, so he says, just go in there and you'll see it propped up. So I was like, okay. Sure enough, when we walked in there, oh my God, you're not gonna believe it. We saw this white board. Now, this was not my board at all, because mine was made out of wood that, you know, like I said, it looked like the Witchboard movie board. This white board, let me see if I can get it in the screen here, was like about this long, you can see it, and like about this tall. So a really good size, but perfect for making a spirit board. I mean, perfect size. It had real smooth white finish on the front and on the back. And I knew then, this is meant for us. It felt like this surge of power went through me, and I realized at that moment, this board was put here from this house or from this spirit for direct communication. And the only reason I say that is because of other events that occur. So just stay tuned for more videos on this story. Once I find this board and I'm holding it, I'm like, oh my God, I could just feel this power from this house just rising up into me and through me, and it's like as if I didn't even care about the other one. I still would wonder, and to be honest, I never found that board ever again in that house. It literally just never showed back up. So I don't know what happened to it. I mean, I still don't know to this day what happened to it. But now that I have this new board, I knew, like, okay, it's blank on both sides. So it was for me to get creative and make this board into something really magical and powerful and amazing to take to this house. So I spent a couple of weeks creating these different designs and ideas. I actually had a friend that worked in a warehouse with graphical designs and things like that, so I was able to actually create different types of stencil type things on the computer and print them out onto the board. And so, I mean, it was really detailed. And then I had to go and color through it all, and then I clear coated it and everything a few times. And so I spent a couple of weeks just really focusing on getting this board the way I felt I needed to get it just right. So that's what I did, and it turned out really amazing. And if I can find the picture, I'm going to insert it right here. So to end this up, this story actually was after a scary experience, and you know, I had burned those boards in the scary experience, and at that time I was like about 14, 15 years old. This was actually in like 99, 2000, so I was like 17, 18 years old, and oh my God, I continued to play the board even though I had burned those ones from that past experience. And this actually leads up to me burning the boards again. Just to be completely honest with you, I do burn that board that I made for that house. But this has probably already gotten really long. I just love sharing these past experiences that I've had, and I hope you enjoy them too. And I will share with you more experiences that I had, scary experiences, no lie, because obviously they had to be scary for me to burn those boards, right? And the house got torn down. I also forgot to mention that when we went back outside after getting that white board, that man and woman was gone. There was no signs and no bottles. There was nothing there. I mean, it was like, and they didn't even have a vehicle. I forgot to mention that too, that when I saw them there, I didn't see any vehicle because we came through the back, so there wasn't a vehicle there. And when we got up front, there wasn't a vehicle there either. So I don't know what that could have been. Some of my friends thought they were ghosts too, that man and that woman. Possibly someone that had lived in that house in the past, because this is a really old house. I mean, I'd say it was built back in maybe the early 30s. So, that house definitely had a lot of history. It's just unfortunate that it was, someone let it go down as bad as it did, and it got so old and deteriorated that, there was actually no way to save it. So, yeah, it does get torn down. And I will share with you guys more experiences on this story and at that house on the hill in upcoming videos. So stay tuned, and thank you so much for watching and subscribing. And if you have an experience in an old haunted house or any kind of old house or Ouija board experience, go ahead and post that below, because I love hearing y'all's stories. Have a beautiful day. Enjoy your weekend. It's going to be a magnificent, beautiful, wonderful weekend. So it's not cloudy. It's sunny. It's beautiful, beautiful blue skies. Let me show you. Beautiful blue skies. It's a wonderful, beautiful day. So enjoy yourself. Take care. Go out anywhere and anything spooky happens, be sure to let me know. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye.
Look! He's trying to tell us. You can see it in his face.